the episode. Enter Player 3 podcast is finally back, or at least I should say the duo is back. I, as always, am Josh, joined by co-host Craig. Episode 7, I think? I'm losing track. It's January 12th in the new year of 2019.
There we go.
And it's been since last year since I've talked to you. How are things going, Craig?
Good. Wow. Yeah, no, it's been almost a month at this point, right?
I think so.
So,
yeah. Holidays, man.
I'm really glad they're over.
Yeah.
Family being in town and everything doesn't mix well with your child's schedule.
No, so, it really doesn't.
And children need schedules. Like,
oh yeah,
Kale's super high energy, so like without his schedule, he's just off the wall.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that we can get back into some semblance of scheduling, and we're getting things figured out with him. Like before Christmas break, we were struggling with taking him to school because he'd just have this massive panic attack whenever I started to leave to drop him off at school. In the last week, I think we figured out like how to have him not have that panic attack.
Oh.
So this week it was pretty much okay, love you, bye, and then he just walked in, gone, and it was like, yes.
Wow, that's
yes!
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
that's
so
a big
exciting.
Win. That's a big win.
I think part of it's they moved. I think that's a little bit. So he's really excited to be at the class.
Okay.
But I think another big part of it is what I've started doing before going to school is I've started being like, okay, Kale, now Daddy's going to leave you.
Just like prepping
really
him.
Blunt. Just like really blunt. I mean, like I've been front loading him for a long time because he works well with that. But like just being super blunt and being like, I'm going to leave you. You're going to be left at school and you're going to have fun. And then I'm going to come pick you up.
Yeah.
And at first he might be like, oh, I wanna. But by the time we're at the door, he's like, okay, I expected this. This was coming. I knew it was. Adios.
No shock. Yeah.
Bye. So I'm just like, oh, thank God it's working. Even his teacher stopped me on Thursday and he was like, what's going on? It's been great. And I'm like, I know, right?
Yeah. Dude, so that's amazing. Those wins are so huge, man.
Yeah, they are.
Like over the Christmas break, like we've been struggling with our daughter like staying asleep at night for a while, and she's just been waking up a lot. But over Christmas break, like I swear I feel like we didn't even do anything. She just like all of a sudden just started sleeping. Like, well, actually one big thing happened was she learned how to put the pacifier back in her mouth on her own.
Ooh.
And so if she spits it out, she can just grab it and put it back in, and it's kind of a game changer. And so that has resolved a lot of issues. She's still struggling. We're still having some issues because a lot of times she'll just lose it in the dark or something, or kind of roll away from it and then be like, she can't find it. So then we got to still come save her, but it's still a big one. But like, man, schedules are so huge.
Yeah. Have you seen like those little clippy ones that have like a... Have you tried that?
Yeah, we have those, but like we're a little nervous about putting her to bed with one. Like,
understandably.
Like, oh, what if it gets around her neck? I mean, they're pretty short. I don't think it could actually wrap around her neck, but I don't know. Yeah.
How much does she like toss and turn?
A lot. She's like rolling, and
they also have ones that are attached to like little stuffed animals.
Okay.
And that could be a solution for that.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that would be easier to find.
For her to find.
Exactly. Right.
Oh, Steffi, there it is.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Actually, I might have to think about that.
So we did both of those for Kale, although I don't think we ever put him to bed with the ones that clip on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we had the idea, but then it's like, I don't know how safe that is. Definitely.
Yeah.
Be safe. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's funny you mentioned schedules because I feel like we're kind of like living around her nap schedule right now. Like, all right, when does she need to nap? Okay, where can we go? What can we fit in between the nap times? Which of course the holidays completely like screwed with all of that. Because parents, but we survived. We're here.
Yep.
Yeah, we're here, and we've got some stuff to talk about today. To jump right into our first topic, a topic that most Destiny 2 players are probably already aware of, which is that Destiny or I should not Destiny. I guess I should say Bungie, the developers of Destiny, have officially split ways with Activision.
Free, precious. Free.
They are free. This was a development that happened Thursday. Was it Thursday? Thursday or Friday?
Today's Saturday.
Today's Saturday.
I want to say yesterday. I thought the announcement was yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was actually. I think it might have been yesterday.
So I think it was 11th. Wasn't when it was announced. It was yesterday morning-ish.
It was actually the teased by Jason Schreier. Who else? This guy, like, I don't know. He has so many leads in every single like video game developer studio. But he kind of teased it, and then of course Destiny. I keep saying Destiny. Bungie posted about it. Jason Schreier also wrote about it, and Jason also reported that when the news was announced in the Bungie studios, there was lots of cheering. People were celebrating. Champagne was broken out. I mean, like, Bungie is apparently super happy about this. So my question is, should Destiny 2 players be happy about this? What does this mean for the future of Bungie and Destiny 2?
I think Bungie's gotten big enough they don't necessarily need that publisher anymore. I know at the beginning, because at the beginning of Destiny and its life cycle, they needed a publisher because they'd just broken off from Microsoft. Sure. I think they lost a lot of their own people because of that as well. And they needed someone bigger to help hold their hand through those beginning stages of Bungie becoming independent again, which is ironic because they're tied to Activision, so they're not independent.
Right.
But I think from what I've heard and read, because Bungie's not just working on Destiny anymore, they've also got a new IP.
This is true.
In the works.
This is
so
true.
They're clearly big enough to be working on 2 IPs, which means they should be big enough to self-publish, which is exactly what's going to be happening. Bungie will be self-publishing Destiny, all of its DLC and everything, independently from now on, which is great. There's a lot of different things that happened throughout Destiny's lifespan that were solely because Activision didn't want that or needed something else to happen. A lot of the issues with Eververse has been attributed to Activision and wanting more money out of Bungie.
Right.
And the worst case scenario is a lot of that goes away. I feel like the worst case scenario is like maybe some things get scaled down a little bit just because they don't have that big money behind them. Conversely, though, we might get a little more quality because Bungie actually has full creative control now. They don't have to worry about appealing to investors.
Yeah.
At least not those investors anymore.
Right.
Which, from the sounds of things, those investors really only cared about money. The people that they were beholden to were like, bring in the money or GTFO.
Yeah.
Which is what happened. And they GTFO'd, and I think this is better for everybody. I think this will be better for the game by and large. I've been hearing a lot of people being like, oh, Bungie gets to make the game they've always wanted to. It's kind of like, no, not really.
Yeah.
That ship has sailed. Destiny is what it is now. And like, honestly, I'm already expecting there to be lots of retcons for Destiny 3 at this point. Them trying to find some way to undo some of the stuff that got done. But I think by and large, they're sort of stuck with the universe that they've made, which is okay. I think there's lots of things that they can do, and they've already set up pretty interesting kind of future things to go on.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not going to be like, what we were promised back in E3 in like 2008 or something like that. It was a long time ago at this point now, but like that game's dead. That game's not coming.
Right.
But we might actually get out of having to deal with some of the more negative things that come out of Bungie in association with Destiny. So that's good. I think it'll just lessen it won't muddy the waters as much, and hopefully we can get a better play experience by and large.
I mean, I think one of the biggest changes that we will hopefully see is how they release content and DLC. Because one of the things that Activision is known for is having very strict content release schedules. I should say paid content release schedules. So you need to be releasing like a main game every so many years, and you need to have and stick to a very strict DLC release schedule that is also paid packages, right? And we've seen this throughout Destiny's existence, even with the first Destiny, right? the game releases. Then you've got like this winter DLC. Then there was like a spring DLC. We saw and then like a more expensive revamp 1 year later.
Yep.
Saw the exact same schedule happen with Destiny 2. And that model does not really fit very well with I think the kind of game that Bungie was wanting to make, which is more of a, I'm going to use that hot term, games as a service, right? Where it's not just you release a game and that's what it is, but you're continually adding to it, building upon it, changing things, all like Fortnite is now, where the core game is still, there, but you're always adding and changing things up to engage the player base. And not that they're going to stop adding new content, but being stuck to that very strict schedule, I mean, you could see it in the quality of the DLC, especially the first DLC that was released for both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, universally panned by the community. And so my hope is that, now that Activision is gone, there's no more control from them. I do think we might see, I don't think the Eververse is going away. Maybe we'll see some more changes there. The Eververse, for people that don't play Destiny, is like the in-game store where you can spend real money to kind of like buy cosmetics and extra stuff. It's another way for Bungie to make money. But I do think their DLC schedule might change a bit, hopefully for the better. Because they did kind of initially, I mean, like I agree with you that like the Destiny game that was teased at E3, I don't know, 2010, I don't know how many years ago this was, it's dead.
2010 was released.
That game is dead. But I do think that Bungie still wants maybe something similar to that, where there's just this persistent existing world that is they can kind of slowly and thoughtfully add to. Which is kind of closer to where it is right now, where they've kind of shifted a little bit to, there's no more paid DLCs this year. There's only a pass that you have to buy. You have to buy it for the whole year, but it's kind of almost like a subscription. Like a lot of MMOs have monthly subscriptions, and that's kind of, even though you have to buy the whole year, that's kind of what this feels like, where they're just going to keep giving you more stuff throughout the year. It's up to the players to decide if it's worth it or not. But my prediction, though, is that this will actually delay the release of Destiny 3.
I would think so.
Because obviously they're not going to have the money, but also they don't have to make the game that Activision may have been pushing them to make. They don't have to, meet any deadlines that Activision may have had for them. And I actually think they might use this as an opportunity to try to take the next game in a bit of a different direction. My prediction is actually that the next Destiny game will not be named Destiny 3. I think they'll do something kind of like Halo is doing, where the next Halo game is not Halo 6. It's, my God, I'm forgetting.
Halo Infinite.
Thank you, Halo Infinite. I think they might actually do something like that, where it's Destiny and then a different title. Because I think they're going to try to do something a little bit different than they've done with the last two. Here's my hope. That they release something that is more like an MMO, that contains all of the locations of the last 2 years and has crossplay.
Yes.
How amazing would that be?
My kingdom for crossplay.
Right? That, I mean, like, for me, and for us to be able to play on PC with our Xbox friends, persistent progression, it's your same characters, same players, all of the maps, all of the content from the last two games are there.
That would be my wet dream.
It would be pretty amazing. It would.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, that's probably a bit of a reach for that to happen, but they've got time.
It would definitely be not only a next gen game.
Oh yeah.
I think at that point, but I think there will definitely be some lag time down from Destiny 2, or maybe they find some way to arbitrarily lengthen Destiny 2's lifespan. Maybe, God forbid, they actually. I kind of wonder how much Activision's influence had on Destiny's PvP never being very good. And so I'd be interested to see if they actually start doing stuff with their PvP. Because that would be, I think that would be a really excellent way to kind of expand Destiny 2's lifespan, to give them more time to make Destiny 3 whatever it is they want it to be,
Yeah.
if they've got a decent PvP platform.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything's open. Um, I think Destiny 2 will. I think it's got a few more years left in its lifespan. I think they'll finish out, their current release, or their current schedule of content release goes into this summer. I think
Mhm.
at this summer they will announce another similar cycle of release content for another year.
Mhm.
And then after that, I have no idea. I don't know if Destiny
It's a
3 will
brave new
be
world.
will be ready by then, or if there'll be kind of a dead year while they focus all their
Mhm.
resources on Destiny 3. I think it'll be hard to keep Destiny 2 alive for another year and a half, or
I think so.
past a year and a half. I think they will try to keep it alive for another year and a half. I think keeping it alive past that is going to be hard. Um, but we'll see. It's exciting
Yeah,
times.
it is. It's a brave new world for Bungie. They can do whatever they want now,
Yeah.
and from the sound, well, and so something else that I saw, that kind of surprised me, because I remember at the very beginning of starting to play Destiny, there's sort of this expectation that, this was a 10-year plan for this game,
Mm-hmm.
and basically after Destiny 3 sometime would probably be the end of Destiny.
Right.
And so I don't remember who was it tweeted it out, but somebody from Bungie was like, we're looking forward to continuing the Destiny universe for several more years. And that goes, several usually goes past, it'd be about 2020 is about when Destiny 3 was supposed to be released, 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And several more years is longer than that. So I'm thinking that they've got either big plans for 3, or there's going to be another sequel. In
Yeah.
either way, I'm down, especially if Bungie is self-publishing, and I'm more than happy to support that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. It's exciting, and
Yeah. We'll see.
but there's another side to this whole story too. We're all excited for Bungie, but now what is Activision doing? Because letting go of, I mean, like, I know Activision was disappointed with sales from Forsaken, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous, because I think it was like $325 million
It sold
for
pretty well, I
Forsaken.
think.
It sold really well, especially in a games market, when you consider, or when all things are considered. Like, it sold quite well, but it
Mm-hmm.
was underperforming for Activision, for their shareholders. Jim Sterling, his show on YouTube is Jimquisition.
Uh-huh.
He made a point somewhere back last fall where he was talking. It was, the numbers for Black Ops just came out,
Yeah.
and it underperformed because it didn't blow away Black Ops 3's numbers, basically.
Right.
And he's like, uh, they're getting greedy. They're getting far too greedy, and they don't understand this market. They don't understand there's a cap to this market. They cannot just continue to blow away numbers. There is a limit to how much money this market can make, and they're approaching it, and they're going to be disappointed. And it's very possible that if they keep speculating further and harder and farther, they could crash it,
When you
and they very well might.
Yeah, I mean
Because
when you're that like concerned with, or even like a slave to kind of like the shareholders in the ways that it seems like Activision tends to be,
mm-hmm.
there really is no winning, because all the shareholders want to see is that those like arrows continuing to point up, right? Is the numbers to continue to rise. And of
Yeah.
course that is ultimately unsustainable. You cannot like beat out your last sales record with every single release every single year.
Nope.
Eventually, even if you have like a fantastic release one year, like those numbers are going to come crashing back to earth, back to reality at some point.
Yeah,
um
like, Black Ops 4 is arguably the most popular Black Ops game since, maybe two, maybe one.
yeah,
I
it's
don't,
been
I don't even
it's
know at this
really
point. It's been a
popular, yeah.
while. It's honestly been a while since Call of Duty's been as popular as I think Blackout 4 has
Oh
been.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's like, I haven't played a Call of Duty game at full price for a long time, because
Hmm.
they're just, reiterations, and they're kind of trash. Like, I'll what I my policy for Call of Duty games was, I will wait until the Call of Duty game is $10, and then I will go to GameStop or whatever, pay $10 to get the game, because I'm just going to play the campaign. I'm
Yeah.
not going to play the multiplayer because it's just the same old. Either that, or people complain about, like, oh, they're adding in exoskeletons and all this garbage and it sucks now. And so it's like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
play that.
Right.
But Black Ops 4, it's its pure self. I think in a lot of ways there's a lot of really good in the multiplayer. Blackout is a huge hit. I
Mm-hmm.
think it brings something unique to the arguably nearing saturation market of
Battle
battle royale
Royale.
shooters.
Yeah.
It brings something different and unique, like the mobility and everything is way different.
Oh yeah.
And it's just really good. And zombies is fun. Zombies could be its own game.
Yeah. That is
I
like a
love
deep
zombies. It's
game.
so
Yeah.
different and good, and I love it. They're
Yeah.
like it's just a really good game, and it hasn't been that way in a long time. And yet,
And their sales were good. They had great
sales were
sales
great. It was
numbers.
like over $800 million.
Yeah, but still, their stocks
It
like
was still not
dropped.
enough. Their
There's
stocks dropped
yeah,
because they made 800 because they only made $800 million,
it wasn't
which for
enough.
any game release is incredible.
Right.
For a Call of Duty game, which is a just reiteration franchise, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I don't
it's not
know.
enough.
I don't know what's going on with Activision. I don't know where they're going. Um there's still a lot to find out about the split with Bungie. Like I don't know if that was their call, Bungie's call, how that kind of contract ended up getting ended prematurely. Hopefully we'll get some of those answers eventually, but there's still a lot we don't know. But then you saw you were telling me before we went live that you saw an additional piece of news about Activision.
Yeah. There's a new piece of news from today. There is a law firm currently out of New York who is investigating claims on the behalf of the investors of Activision and Blizzard that certain of its officers and or directors have been engaged in securities fraud or other unlawful business practices. So
the timing of that is so interesting.
Is really, really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? It sounds like they're just investigating, so there's a lot to find out still there. But the timing of that, though,
part of me is thinking it's just the investors being investors. Because here's what happened basically. Q3, Q4 of 2018, Activision lost really, really, really big.
Yeah.
They didn't post the profits they wanted from Forsaken. They took a big hit with Diablo.
Yeah.
For some reason. And then they took loss. They didn't lose either. They just didn't post as big of profits on Black Ops. So there's 3. That's their major. Those were the major releases for the tail end, or major announcements and releases for the tail end of 2018. So back to back, Activision lost, according to investors. Right. So I honestly think that it's really just the investors being like, something's not going on here. We're not getting our profits. Where's the money? Maybe. And I don't think they're understanding that it's really not there because you're just expecting far too much out of this market.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Or maybe there is something really shady going on in Activision, which would surprise nobody whatsoever. Nobody would be surprised by that fact, especially with the new Blizzard announcement that the freaking co-founder is leaving in April and to be replaced by somebody from Activision for Blizzard. Yeah. Like, what's going on there? That's sketchy, right?
Because they are also coupled, and although now people are hoping that this split with Bungie will signal a split with Blizzard as well. It's a lot of Blizzard fans. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. That's not gonna, unless Activision really truly implodes.
Yes,
I don't see that. Yeah,
because they're from externally, it looks like they're forcing out a co-owner from Blizzard and inserting one of their own into that position.
Well, and there's been reports about Activision's influence really starting to seep down into like the Blizzard's development of games and what they're trying to focus on. They're trying to make games faster and stuff like that. So
I can't help but wonder if I have a hard time believing Activision is the only game developer or publisher that's also doing a lot of this.
Oh no.
Like
They're probably just one of the
look at
biggest.
it's Activision's definitely one of the biggest, but then you got to start wondering, like, because I feel like we're getting a look side of that publisher side that you don't necessarily get to, and I'm wondering, like, okay, so Activision's doing this. What about EA? What about Ubisoft? I mean, we know that Ubisoft cranks out games, but Ubisoft also tends to be their own development studio. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of like, how does this work for other developers or publishers?
I don't
Publishers
know.
and developers are distinctly
Right,
but not
right.
always. So, but I'm just like,
Interesting
so are
question.
they doing similar things that just doesn't come out? Like it's just exploding on Activision right now? Or are EA and Ubisoft and any other major publishers in the same position? I'm very curious. I want to know what that's like across the industry.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we'll know.
Yeah, who knows, right? I mean, there's so much of that stuff is purposefully kept behind doors as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's a fair point. Activision is far from the only big publisher that is very sales and profits driven. So
Yeah.
EA is probably a good comparison. They release the same sports games every single year.
Yes, they do.
And there are
all of them.
tons of microtransactions in those games with like their Ultimate Team system and whatnot, which has been extremely profitable. I think it's probably their biggest form of profit, honestly. But I guess that's a little bit of a tangent. But no, it's a good point. So I guess a lot of this remains to be seen. But as a Destiny fan, even though I haven't been playing very much Destiny in a while, I am excited about this news. I'm hopeful for the future. The future just feels a little bit more open now that Activision is gone, and so
it definitely, like, I don't expect to be getting the same old.
Yeah,
I'll be disappointed if we do. I mean,
right?
Forsaken was great and everything, and I know that they can make a decent game under those constraints, but I really hope for better at this point now.
I agree. I agree. We will see. Stay tuned, Destiny fans.
Lots and lots in the coming weeks, months. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe nothing happens.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I will say Bungie has tried to be more transparent with the community, and the community has really responded positively to that. And there's always the chance that Activision was wanting Bungie to keep things under wraps a little bit more as well. And so now, if that was the case, and now that that's gone, I think we might actually hear a little bit more from Bungie throughout this year about the future, which would be really nice. The question's going to be asked by the community constantly.
Yeah.
What's coming after this year? What is coming for Destiny 3? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to our topic number 2, which is actually a little bit more of a broad topic, although it's still very much currently relevant. And that is the seemingly never-ending debate of casuals versus hardcore/pro players in multiplayer games. So I'm speaking. This conflict has been particularly relevant currently in the game Fortnite. Sure, everyone listening to this knows what Fortnite is. But
what's Fortnite?
What Fortnite? Is that a game? What do you build forts? I don't know. Always happens at night. Anyway, so Fortnite, the massively popular and successful battle royale game, where the developers Epic have supported this game fantastically. They're constantly changing things up, changing the environment, the map, the mechanics, the weapons, the vehicles, all that stuff. But there has been a ton of complaints this last month by mostly pro players and pro streamers of Fortnite about airplanes, because Epic decided to introduce airplanes into the game that players can fly. They can fly the airplanes into buildings. They can shoot from the airplanes to destroy buildings or attack other people. I played this myself. I think it's a lot of fun, but here's the debate.
I haven't touched the planes yet. I actually haven't booted up Fortnite in this entire season.
Oh, really? This is actually
I've touched it.
That's interesting, because this is the first season that I've actually played through most of. Like I've been trying to keep up with the challenges and stuff, which I've never done before. But I just for some reason started doing it this season. Only a little bit here and there, but more than before. Anyway, so I have actually flown the airplanes in Fortnite, and they're a lot of fun. I mean, there's what's not fun about flying around in a plane, crashing it into these like huge forts that people build that I'm not good enough to build, to be honest. I've not played enough to like
Yeah.
build these like huge
Yeah,
like
right?
systems. Like, if anyone watches these pro Fortnite streamers, they build so insanely quickly.
Mhm.
And I've gone up against people like that when I played, and I feel almost helpless because like I'm trying to shoot down their structures, but they're building faster than I can shoot it down, and like all of a sudden they're above me, and it's just insane.
Mhm.
But the Fortnite streamers and pros have been complaining endlessly about these planes because they feel like they're cheap. They feel like casual players can use them to get an unfair advantage, right? And if they didn't have planes, they would lose every gunfight. And so it's not good for like pro competitive play. Which, fine. For them it
Eh,
probably isn't. For
yeah.
them it probably does feel unfair. But they're also playing this game 8 hours a day at the highest level, where most, like the mass majority of Fortnite players are not at that level. Like me. So then you've got the people like me. I like to think of myself as a commoner when it comes to Fortnite. I'm a filthy casual who enjoys
Filthy
flying.
casual.
I enjoy flying airplanes. I'm outing myself as an airplane flyer right now. And I just feel like this debate has
You dirty
happened.
airplane
I
flyer.
know. I know.
It's a insult now.
But I feel like this debate has existed for years. It just changes from game to game. It's how do you balance a multiplayer game in a way that makes it accessible for the filthy casuals and still enjoyable for all those hardcore pro level players. What do you do? What have you encountered this? I'm sure you've encountered this.
Yeah, it's a question that every single game where there's a competitive scene, and I don't think you can,
It's
because
impossible.
it's impossible. Frankly, I think the casual, even not even just the casual, but like the mid level players and everything,
Mm-hmm.
they're completely different from pro players. Like
Yeah.
I remember first encountering this issue with League of Legends, and that's what actually ultimately drove me out of playing League of Legends, was that. And it was fun. Like, on one hand, it was fun because they were making tons and tons of money out of Riot. Started focusing much more on pros and what
Oh.
they desired and what was best for pros
Mm-hmm.
than what was best for normal players. But it made the game just unfun,
Hmm.
and so I stopped playing League of Legends. And you really need to pick a lane on it, kind of thing, as a developer,
Yeah.
or you need to figure out a way to make two different games,
Yeah.
one for regular people and a platform for professional play.
Right.
Which I think that happens to a degree. I think
Mm-hmm.
um, even for League of Legends, like I know when it came to actual pro play, they played on a it wasn't a server. It was I want to say it was just a LAN setup in the stadium,
Hmm.
and the version they played was different than the version that casuals play, which is fine. That also means then, like, I guess you need to play in that as a professional player in order to be used to playing it, so you can play at your peak.
Yeah.
And so it really, like, it gets hard when you try and divide those two scenes entirely like that.
Yeah.
Because then you're functionally developing two different games,
Yeah.
and it's just difficult. And so I think it's a hard balance, especially in a game like Fortnite, where there's a lot of things where it's like, this seems like a really fun idea that I want to give a shot.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to competitive play, yeah, it's probably completely broken.
Yeah.
Plane or the boombox thing that they have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The sword
uh,
before they took it
the
out.
sword, yeah, they're completely broken, but they're tons of fun.
Yeah.
So how you balance between fun and balanced is very difficult, because those two are very rarely the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
That's just a reality.
and what is fun and balanced is defined differently, right, by each group.
Yeah.
And so, like, in Fortnite, for like a more casual player, something like the boombox, which also destroys the buildings, and the planes, might seem balanced. It might actually seem like items that give them more of a chance. Like, honestly, for me, like, sometimes like if I'm going up against someone that's just building like crazy, but I've got a boombox like or a stick of dynamite, like I suddenly feel like maybe I've got a chance because I can counter what their obvious strategy is. But I'm sure every hardcore like player or streamer would tell me that I am out of my mind, that is not balanced. It's the opposite, that I should get good and learn how to build fast, right? That's exactly what I would be told.
That's exactly what they would say. But at the same time, it's like, no, I don't want to spend the time on this game because I don't value this game, but I want to have fun.
Right. Well, even if I wanted to put that time in, I don't have 8 hours a day to grind this game. I have to work. I mean, like I've got a family, like, you know, most people don't have the time. Even if they did have the desire, they still wouldn't have the time or resources to be able to do that.
I think when it comes to Fortnite especially, it's probably a lot more easy to make a build for competitive play. Because like here's the thing, if you're pros like Ninja, people who, you know, go and actually compete, yes, they're going to be practicing in either a regular arena or they're going to be running their own scrims because they are allowed to do that.
Sure.
They have keys to custom matches, and they could run scrims, or Epic could decide to run scrims for them. You know, whatever. That's fine. But I feel like Fortnite would be a lot easier to be like, okay, so for these competitive matches, we're actually going to take out the plane. We're not going to put in the sword. No boombox, things like that. And then, I mean, if you want to practice being a pro, then go practice being a pro in the pro place. Don't come pub stomp and then complain that this game's unbalanced because we're here to have fun and you're being all try hard.
Well, and that is like, you know, because I've watched quite a few streamers and, you know, like pro streamers, and that is what a lot of it is. Like they want to pub stomp, they want to like go into a more casual, you know, typical lobby and try to get 20 plus kills.
Screw you.
And things like planes might throw their plans, you know, might throw a wrench in their plans. And that's not as good of content for them.
Down planes.
Right? God. And so like, you know, and again, we are talking a lot about Fortnite. It is the biggest game in the world right now, but it's also, I think, important to remember that Fortnite gained so much of its success by making it accessible and casual, right? Like it is probably the most accessible, I would say. Even though building gets really complicated, I think in a lot of ways it's still one of the more accessible battle royale games out there. Its style is very casual, right? Instead of like the more intense, realistic PUBG or Blackout in Call of Duty. And then, you know, all the skins, the fun different like items that they have, and the fun different game modes they cycle through. It's much more casual friendly. And so I think they've continued to lean towards servicing the more casual players, which is why they probably haven't taken the planes out yet. And I think good for them. Like that's probably the smartest choice for them, because the reality is, no matter how much a top streamer like Courage JD complains about this, he's still going to play Fortnite every single day. He's still going to stream it every single day, because that's literally how he's making all of his money. So fine, he can complain, but Epic knows he's not going anywhere. And neither are any of the other players and streamers, unless they like seriously screwed up somehow, but I don't really see that happening anytime soon.
Fortnite's very much still in its prime.
Yeah. I will say, I think the best way that this debate, like the casuals versus the pros, the best way that this has been kind of settled in some way is with games that have different playlists, right? Which you were kind of hinting at just now. So like, I used to play a ton of Halo 5, and this debate still happened where pros were continually complaining about the settings in like the typical arena playlist, but eventually they got their own playlist. And that fixed a lot of the debate, where it was like, I mean, there was still debates about what the setting should be in both playlists, but there was one that was more casual friendly, which again was really important. I remember like I had a friend play with me a lot who was not as good as I was, could not really use the pistol, had to use the assault rifle. That's where he got most of his kills, was with the assault rifle. Pros hated the assault rifle. Pros for a long time were campaigning for the assault rifle to be removed from these playlists because it was too cheap. There wasn't enough skill involved. But if the assault rifle wasn't there, my friend would have never played with me, because he didn't play it enough to enjoy it and be able to use the pistol, which is the higher skill weapon, whatever. And so it is a delicate balance, but I think you've got to try to strike it. I do think different playlists can help.
Yeah.
Developers, I think, shy away from that because it can split the player base, which a lot of times they don't want to do. That can cause issues, but
I mean, you've already got a split player base in some of these things.
yeah,
When you have a professional scene, you have a split player base.
yeah,
That's just a fact.
yeah,
And it's honestly frequently very unfair to have your casual people playing against your pros because they're on a different level,
right,
just all
right.
across the board.
I mean, it brings up like the
So
importance of having some kind of like skill-based ranking system and matchmaking for some of these games. Not really that
which
necessary for Fortnite, but
have any of them ever worked?
well,
Honestly,
that's a whole nother topic.
like right now I was just thinking like Siege is in a unique space where it's kind of like, they don't necessarily have that option for different game modes. They have ranked and then they have
Mm-hmm.
casual.
Mm.
And most people are gonna, or most people who most tryhards are gonna play ranked,
Sure.
and casual is casual. Don't get upset about it, it's casual.
Right.
um but at the same time, their ranked skill base, or their skill based rank system is not even,
Mm.
because you'll have, like a couple of golds and 3 silvers versus
Yep.
2 diamonds and a couple of platinums, and it's like, what? Come
Yep.
on, that's not even remotely fair. And it's those kinds of points where it's like, what are you even doing here? You're a professional player. Go scrim.
Right.
Don't come play against casuals.
Yeah. Well, they got to get those clips. They got to get those highlight clips, right?
And I also feel like Siege is kind of its own unique microcosm where it's functionally different from, Fortnite, Call of
True.
Duty.
True.
It's because it's played differently.
Oh yeah, it's a very different game.
It's a very different game. So I don't know, actually. I guess by and large, unless you're going to fully separate the two,
Mm-hmm.
there's no real way to balance.
You're not going to be able to keep both people happy.
To do it, I think that's the best way to do it, is to separate it. Just be like, here's for fun,
Mm-hmm.
here's for try hard.
Yeah.
Take a pick. If you're going to play for fun, then don't be mad about stuff we're putting in there for fun. If you're going to play for try hard, we're going to do our very, very best to make sure everything is balanced.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've probably hit the nail on the head there. It's a debate that's always going to continue raging on, because there's always going to be a conflict there for developers and for the player base. And I see both sides of it. I really do. Like when I was playing a lot of Halo, like I wanted the more intense settings because I was trying to get really into it, and I appreciated the skill gap that came with that. But then with games where I wasn't that intense, like I wanted like to feel like I could still play and have fun and like feel like I'm half decent at it, even if I'm a filthy casual, so to speak. I think what the thing that bothers me, I guess I do recognize I get a little bit bothered when I see like these huge personalities and like top streamers and whatnot complaining this much, because of like it just feels super out of touch to me. Where it's like, do you not understand that most of your own fans and people that watch you, like if they play the game, they're gonna want the more casual settings. Like I get that it's frustrating for you, but to make such a huge deal about it and demand that Epic Games like make these changes for you,
to the 1%,
right? That's literally what they're asking for, is Epic Games, please change your game for like the 1%ers like me that play this game 10 hours a day.
And the answer should obviously be no.
No, yeah. Which, to Epic Games' credit, I think they've done actually a pretty good job of still making this game very casual friendly, even if it upsets some of their pros, I guess. But yeah, I think that's one part that bothers me. It's like I'm okay with you wanting the more intense settings. Obviously, you'll enjoy that more. But can you also recognize how out of touch it is to demand that the game kind of be catered to you?
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe that's just my perspective as a self-described filthy casual at Fortnite, but
I agree. And I think if they could see outside of their own perspective for a moment, they would probably have the same realization.
Yeah.
But when you're in that position, I can understand it's also really hard to do that. It's hard to pull back from yourself experience and be like,
right.
Okay, so what is this experience like for other people?
I mean, they're literally
valuable experience for these people.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like they're literally living and breathing Fortnite right now, streaming it so many hours a day. you know, that's gonna affect your perspective a little bit, right?
I can't even imagine doing that. I've thought about it for a while, and I'm like, you know what? If I have to play one game the rest of my life in order to be a professional streamer or gamer or whatever, like, is that even worth it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So just like, oh man, if I
interesting to
had to
think
play
about.
Fortnite 8 hours a day, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, you'd have
Don't
to
think I could
really
do
like the
it.
game or just be
I
really dedicated.
Yeah, like maybe I could do a rotation of Fortnite, PUBG, Blackout.
Mm,
Maybe I could do that, but I'm just like, man, I desire like different
variety.
things at different times of my life. I
Yeah.
just spent the entire fall being obsessed with Destiny because it's got a good story and I enjoy gunplay and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, right now I'm in Black Ops mode because it's what I'm enjoying.
Yeah. Well,
So,
this feels like a
where does
perfect
it go?
segue
Yeah.
into like our wrap up of like what games are we playing and enjoying the last few weeks. You've been playing Blackout recently?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot more multiplayer because wanting to unlock skins and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so I've just been doing that, and it helps your Blackout game. Even though the more multiplayer I play, the more I realize that you play Blackout much differently than you play multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so different, even though
So
it's the
different.
exact same game mechanics and everything. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, it's so
So
weird
different.
now.
Yeah.
But I've just been playing a lot of Black Ops because they're quick. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to dedicate an hour or more of my time. Like, if I have time to dedicate, I'll play Black. If I have like 10 minutes to play in between something, I'm gonna go play more.
Yeah.
Because I can, even if I need to, I can just hop. Um, it's just been it's a matter of convenience and utilizing my time for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other thing I've been doing a lot of was just D&D. I've been doing so much D&D stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm writing my own one shot. My first
Nice. That's
I've decided
exciting.
I want to start writing campaigns and stuff because just I don't know, like I've always wanted to write fiction, fantasy and stuff, but I've never been able to follow through with it because it's such a daunting task. But campaigns seem like that's definitely something I could achieve because I don't have to make everything up from scratch.
Yeah.
There's a whole universe and system, and I can systematically build things that are otherwise boring to make. Like, they're done for me. I can just throw them in there, and then I basically just focus on the story and the plot of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And to a degree, I have to contemplate what players are going to do and stuff, but that also adds an element of fun and surprise to it. So I'm like, I think I could do this. So I'm starting to write my own, or my first one shot,
That's
and I'm
super
really, really
exciting.
excited about it. Yeah. So I've been taking a lot of time for that, and then I've also been doing a lot of research on. I'm developing woodworking skills because I want to start making. I've been working on. I actually have a couple right here that have failed because I suck right now. But I've been making dice boxes.
Ah,
These are really, really bad, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this a different way.
you have to start somewhere,
But
though, right?
yeah, you have to start somewhere because I'm like, the last woodworking I've done was back in high school, which is over 10 years now. So I'm like, I'm just starting from scratch on woodworking skills, but I'm
My
developing that
wife
now.
is. Oh, yeah. Hold on just a second.
Hi.
Baby. Need some help.
It's a baby, you guys.
Feel free to keep talking for a second. I'm just going to help out.
I haven't ever seen. Well, I've seen her in pictures. Hello. She can't hear me. You gotta go shower and get ready for work, Ryuk. Whoa, it's baby. Sup, Ryuk. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, dice boxes. I've been making dice boxes. I want to make like dice trays and dice towers. Start making things for games and stuff. I've been developing those skills, and it's been really, really creatively rewarding for me. Just like, oh god, I can live and breathe this right now. It just awakens my creative side. Oh, little baby's coming to stream. I'm in front of the green screen. Yeah, it's my wall. I picked it. Yeah, this is my wall. It's just a giant green screen, and I throw up a picture. Hello, hello. Sure, too cute.
We'll be right back.
Okay. I picked this picture specifically because my office is cold as balls, and I wanted to be like, this is the feeling I'm having right now sitting in my office because it is friggin' cold in here, and I'm just like, visually experience what I'm physically experiencing in my office right now. So that's why I'm behind this beautiful snowy background, because this looks very much like it could have been taken in Montana when there's enough snow, which there hasn't been this last winter so far, which is a little concerning for fire season. That's a different story. So I was like, I'm gonna pick this. I'm this cold. This is how cold I am, legitimately. So, but yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it's a D&D again. Yeah, it's extremely creatively rewarding, and then playing, and that's not even playing the game. My sessions are on Sunday nights, and I'm like, I need another session to get me through the week without it. I'm just like breathing D&D right now. So
I'm back.
we talked about my background and how it represents how cold it is in my office.
Nice, I like it.
And I was just saying how creatively rewarding D&D is, because it really inspires me to be creative on multiple levels, and it's really nice to
I'm a little jealous,
have
to be honest.
that inspiration. I feel like I haven't had creative inspiration in a long time, and it's just like someone took a giant bucket of it and was like, have it all. And I'm like, okay, I'll do all the things. I'm gonna make dice boxes and dice trays and dice towers and a DM screen, and I'm gonna like start drawing, and I'm gonna make campaigns, and oh my god,
I love it. When inspiration hits you like that, like, you got to run with it. You got to run with that passion.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit every day, you know?
No, it does not.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, real briefly before we wrap up, I've been doing kind of a mix of things. I've been, after the holidays, I kind of like dove back into work. Work was really busy for a little bit. But I've been, this week I've been watching some GDQ as much as I can. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to get in a few more hours here and there of Red Dead Redemption 2. I still haven't beaten it. Honestly, there's still a ton that I have to do in that game. Yeah, I saw the thumbs down. I saw that. You're the worst.
It's
literally the worst.
You don't come play with us. You're busy playing Red Dead. It's like, come
on. I know. Like,
friendly.
It's just like, honestly, it depends on, well, one, I really like the game and I just haven't found time to play it. So whenever I actually have a chunk of hours, like, because that is one of those games, like you were saying, comparing to Black Ops, right? Where it's like, you can't just pop in for half an hour or something to play Red Dead. You really need a good 2 to 3 hour chunk, in my opinion. And also sometimes I'm just feeling a little introverted, if I'm being honest. But we did.
I know that feeling.
I
should turn myself to offline when that's the case.
Maybe that's what I should do. So I don't hurt anyone's feelings. Yeah. But we did get in and play some Blackout Customs the other day.
So fun.
That was pretty fun, even though I accidentally had Sparrow muted the entire time. Shout out to Sparrow.
So funny.
And we were just talking about each other the whole time, unknown that I had him muted. But but that was a lot of fun. I do actually think the new Call of Duty Black Ops is a really good game. Blackout's really good. The multiplayer is really good. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played a Call of Duty game in like 5 years, so so it's been fun to get into that a little bit. Still getting a little bit of time with Smash and Pokemon on my Switch. I feel like I'm all over the place when it comes to gaming right now, to be honest. It's kind of like whatever I have time and whatever is like accessible at the time, because I've been pretty busy. But I'm wanting to focus the next few weeks on Red Dead and Call of Duty, actually, if I was going to choose a multiplayer game. So we will see. Also, I guess I should add to that, because I've told my stream this a few times. I really need to play Deltarune. You
haven't done that yet?
I still haven't done that. I'm going to stream it. Maybe tonight if I'm still awake. I don't know. But it needs to happen. And so that is a must play. I'm going to try to play it on one sitting if I can. I think someone told me it's a few hours. Maybe it's more. So we'll see if that's doable. I haven't played it yet
because I've been waiting for stream.
Yeah. It's happening.
I'd rather watch you play it than play it myself, because I haven't actually played Undertale.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'll be any good at that. So, like,
it's been a while since I played Undertale, but Undertale is one of my top games of all time. And so obviously, like, I'm a little embarrassed that it's taken this long for me to play Deltarune, considering how much I loved Undertale.
Yeah.
People have been asking me about it, so it's gonna happen. That is on my to-do list for the next week or two. But yeah, other than that, not too much. The wife and I have kind of tried to keep things a little low key. She's a teacher, and so she had a vacation, for the holidays, which is great. But then like that first week or two back is always a pretty tough adjustment, not just for her, but also all her students. So, so we've been trying to keep things a little low key this last week.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. A little holiday recovery.
Yeah. There was a couple days after family left where Kelly went to work and Kayla and we just sat on the couch, watch TV. We'd play a little bit here and there, but we were just like, nope, we need this right now.
One thing I will say, like, so I've been doing a lot of mobile game. I think we talked about this. I've been doing more mobile gaming recently with my phone. Brawl Stars is a ton of fun. I've been playing the crap out of it, and it's a team-based game, so your friends can play with you. So the wife and I have been playing it a ton. We've just been teaming up, trying to stomp on some other players online. It's a game that actually benefits a lot from having like a team of people that you know, or at least decent, versus just randomly matching up with people. And so we've had some success, been able to talk a little strategy while we play right next to each other, while we're relaxing. And so that's been a lot of fun too. So that's been keeping me and the wife a little busy when we've had a little bit of downtime, which is fun. I recommend it. Even if you're not really into mobile gaming, it's actually pretty good. So
I downloaded it. I haven't even played the first game yet. I just haven't.
Gotta get in there, man. It feels like a miniature mobile Overwatch is what it feels like to me. And I love Overwatch, and so you can imagine why I would love this game too.
Yeah.
But there's all these different characters that have their own kind of like personality with how they're designed, and then they all play differently too. So team comp positions get interesting, especially for different game modes. They have like a soccer game mode. They have a BR mode. They have a bunch of different modes. So a lot of fun. I recommend it. Get in there. Add me. I think it's just Freud. Actually, I started a clan. You can join our clan. It's No Plan B. So get in there. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up and check the chat, the Twitch chat. Hello, everyone from the Twitch chat. It looks like Energy is in here, and also Bryek. Thank you so much for hanging out while we do this cast. Didn't Activision and Blizzard stock drop from the mobile Diablo announcement too? I believe it did. Yep. Yeah, and yep, Bryek saying the same thing. Don't see Activision and Blizzard splitting. We agree. It'd be much harder to split.
Which is actually kind of a shame, because it almost makes you wonder, like, if Activision goes down, does Blizzard go down?
Yeah, it's true. And I tend to be a fan of Blizzard, and so I want what's best for them.
A lot of people are big fans of Blizzard.
So. Yeah, their fan base. Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So Bryek brought up that Smash Bros has had to deal with this casual versus pro level issue ever since Melee. Which is very true, because Melee, right, is usually seen as like the most competitive version of Super Smash. But it's not very casual friendly.
No. No.
Yeah. Yep, that was a baby. Tungsten is behind a green screen. Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. So okay. Behind a green screen. If I'm actually here, I'm like, no, here. I might as well be, because of how freaking cold it is in my office.
Yeah.
I had a thermometer in here one time, so I can like take a picture every time I walk in and be like, it's 32 degrees in my office.
You should.
It's so cool.
Maybe it somehow enhances like your level of skill though, huh?
No, it does not.
Because you're not.
My hands get cold and they start shaking, and I'm like, I can't do anything.
One of these days we're gonna see you like trying to like play a competitive FPS with your keyboard with like gloves on or something. You're just gonna be like mashing 5 keys at once.
I'd do it for funsies, but like,
no, that'd be horrible.
part of the reason it's so cold in my office is normally what I do is if I knew I was coming in my office, I come down in the morning, turn my heater on, not the little foot heater. Like I have a heater in my office.
Okay.
Turn that on so that by the time I'm in here, it's actually kind of warm.
Right.
But there were some complaints about the heating bill.
Oh.
And so I am going on a heat strike this month to prove that it's not me.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Like our bill I might be like $20 or $30 of our bill, but I guarantee you I am not the bills for.
Okay.
At least not down in my office.
Okay.
Like it might be our living area, but it is sure as heck not my office.
All right. So yeah.
I'm that's why it's so cold.
A little bit of a heating bill showdown going on.
Yeah. I'm like, I will prove it to you.
Yeah. Well, now I feel invested. I need to know what the results are.
I'm really hoping that when he gets that still like $400, so I can be like, suck it, turn my heat on, I'm cold.
That's right. All right, well let's wrap things up. I think that's everything. Thank you again for those viewers that popped into our Twitch, and everyone that will end up listening to this later on YouTube. We love and appreciate you all. All the support that you give really matters a lot and helps us. And so I hope you enjoyed this episode. We should be back next week. Feel free to drop some comments about your opinions about the casual versus pro division and conflict and destiny, hopes, and dreams for the future. And we will see you next week. Yes. Greg, as always, it's been a pleasure. As always. Bye.